Hello everyone, this is Crustlemania and welcome back to the week 7 selling video. I'm going to have a lot of loop footage in this video, so just bear in mind that. So for this week, it was a pretty interesting week in terms of selling. A lot of things happened during this week, and you'll see the first card that was sold in the loop footage here, but basically there were some sales, non-sales, and I had my first sale on TCG Player, and I had the most sales with cards in the week on eBay, but then I also had the most sellers listings that I had to cancel after purchase. So I will get into all that right now, and this will be a little bit longer of a video, so bear that in mind again. So as you've seen from the clip already, that's going to be looping here in the beginning. The first card that I sold this week was a Jam Defender, and this is actually the card that I sold on TCG Player. I had listed this card for 10 cents on my TCG Player, and I totally forgot about this card. I literally didn't realize I had a TCG Player sale until they notified me via email that I made a sale. And I honestly did not even remember which cards I put up on TCG Player, and I was really surprised that a Jam Defender was sold. And after selling the Jam Defender, I realized that I'm probably going to stick a little bit more to selling on eBay than TCG Player, even though I made my first sale. Like, that is crazy in the fact that someone took a chance on me and was able to see my listing. The Jam Defender card was a lot higher, I guess you would say, in terms of like actual cost, so I kind of lowballed it pretty low for 10 cents after shipping and fees, because I think shipping was about $1.27, and basically on top of the 10 cents there's the fees after the fact. So I paid for the shipping, which is postal stampage, no tracking attached to that, so I'm very used to eBay now, and I'll get into that later. But with the 10 cents on top of 127, that's about what, 137, and then I think TCG Player takes about the same percentage out as eBay, so about 43 cents. So long story short, I ended up coming out, I believe, down 30 something cents this week, which was pretty rough because at the time that I sold the Jam Defender, there were 2 YuGiOh cards as well that were supposed to sell for about $1 each, but the buyers did not pay me. They made a bid, they won the bid, and they didn't pay me. And for me, I'm a little bit more lenient, I guess you'd say, for the time that you need for a buyer to pay. So basically, I had messaged them for like 3 straight days, just the reminder message on eBay, and then after that I messaged them without the reminder saying, hey, you know, after the 3rd day, if I don't receive your payment by the end of day today, I'm going to be canceling this order, because on my listings I note that there's a certain amount of days. I thought it was 3, it ended up being 2, but I gave them 3 days the benefit of the doubt, and then by the end of the 3rd day I gave, like at the beginning of the 3rd day, I told them by the end of the 3rd day they better pay me, otherwise I'm canceling it the next morning. Both of them did not pay, so I ended up having to cancel their orders and then just relist those cards, which is quite sad because one of the sellers actually, after I canceled, like literally the day after I canceled, messaged me and said, hey, I'm following up on my order. And unfortunately I was not a native Spanish speaker, so I had to use Google Translate and translate kind of like the situation of the messages that I sent him, like, hey, I didn't hear a response from you for the last 3 days, so I had to cancel your order. And after that I didn't hear from him again, so that's just what happened there. But later on in the week it surprised me because, again, there was, I think this was on the Tuesday of this past week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I saw that the Charizard Lost Origins card got a bid, And because of the two previous sellers with the two Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I was kind of skeptical that any of them, like this person that put a bid, was actually going to pay for the card. So I figured maybe one card might sell because it was a bid on that card, but I wasn't sure if they were going to pay and I had to relist it. So I knew that card was going to sell, and within the last, like, I don't know, 20 minutes, I was checking like the eBay listings. I saw no movement, no views, no watchers other than that one card. So I just figured, okay, I have one sale this week. That's pretty good. By the time I check my email again, after all the listings are done, probably like half an hour later, all of a sudden I get like a barrage of emails saying, oh, you made a sale. And I was like, wait a minute, I only predicted one card being sold. So I actually made 4 sales of Pokemon cards that I had on my eBay page. And I was like, whoa, that's surprising. I only expected 1. And a couple of them were under TCG value market price, and a couple of them were over just because of the change in pricing. So the first card this week that I sold was the Absol full art from Crown Zenith. You might have seen this card already looped in this clip, but basically I sold this card first. This person bid on it, and I sent all of them reminders, all 4 of the buyers, just because I wasn't sure if they were going to pay from the previous 2 Yu-Gi-Oh people I mentioned in this video. Luckily, this is the first person that paid me, so I was surprised. The Absol I sold for $1.60, and I think on TCG Player it dropped down to like maybe $1.17. So I was surprised that I got over kind of TCG market price, because when I made the original listing, it was for the market price at that time, which was $1.56 or something. So I went to like $1.60. I was like, yeah, it's relatively close. I didn't know it dipped down within like the week after, because this card had been up on eBay for about a couple weeks, I think, and it didn't sell. So I just figured, well, I'll just leave it at the same price as market price, not knowing that it shot down. So that was quite an interesting thing to see there. And the next card that sold that same day, again, was the Charizard's Lost Origins. And I think this card, because it was lightly played, I think it was a little bit lower than TCG market price, because I think it shot up actually. I think it hit $4, and I sold it for about $3.80. Now, mind you, when I say I sold it for $3.80, doesn't mean I made $3.80, but I sold it for higher than what I thought I would. I mean, if I were to sell it actually in TCG Player, I'd have to mark it a lot lower than $3.80. Probably would be around like $3-ish maybe. I didn't really check, so don't quote me on that, but it would be a lot lower. So this was the card I for sure knew was gonna sell, and I was happy that this card sold, because this card is cool, but like when I purchased it from the Charizard lot, I didn't really want to keep this card out of all the Charizard cards. Like in that lot sale, I actually kept 2 of the Charizard cards for my own personal collection, but this one I already knew it was like lightly played from the seller originally, and I was like, if there's going to be any Charizard cards sold, like, I'm going to sell this one first. And I was actually very surprised that it sold. So that in itself is pretty crazy that it sold. And sorry if the audio cut out a little bit. I think I was away from the microphone a little too far. So anyways, just really surprising that this card sold. The next card that sold was the Charizard V Crown Zenith card. And this card, again, also, I think I got this card above TCG market price. I think I sold it for $225 on eBay, and I think this card dropped down to like $165 or $170 on TCG Player, which I was surprised that this card dropped down in price, because it was pretty high for a while. But that just shows you the influx of pricing of cards in the Pokemon space, or just in the TCG space. But really surprised that I got kind of above TCG market price for the selling price. This card's really nice. It's in near mint condition, really clean. I think this was a card that was in the same lot as the Lost Origins Charizard that was lightly played that sold, so really great that this card sold as well. Very much a surpriser to me. And then the last Pokemon card that sold in this same day was the Ducidui? I don't know how to say this guy, but the Ducidui, I say, GX. This card I was actually surprised about. This card, I had it up there for about a couple weeks as well. No movement. I've had to relist it. I actually was thinking about lowering the price of this card because I thought it was too high. And it turns out I think this card was under TCG market value, if I can remember correctly. But like between this card and the Charizard Lost Origins, I actually was gonna lower the price, but because the listing was ending, like I don't think I can make any changes, so I just kind of left it there and was really surprised that this card sold as well. So I was able to ship all 4 of these cards out on the same day, which was really nice. I think the Ducidui card, if I remember correctly, sold for, I think, let me double check, I think $1.75, but let me double check. Oh no, it sold for $2.45, sorry. So I sold that for $2.45, which I think is a little bit lower in the TCG price, or maybe higher. I can't remember like the actual market value. So, and then I thought that was going to be the end of the sales for this week. And then I get an offer for a Yu-Gi-Oh card, which I put up there, kind of the higher value one, and it's Sabik's Blessing in Secret Rare, from a Joey themed, I think, card set. I just had this card. I don't even remember getting this card, but I think I got it a long time ago when I was younger. Don't really need the card, and I made a pretty good deal. This card definitely went under TCG value. I think the TCG value for this card, because it's pretty near mint, was around like $5.10, and this card sold for about $4.50 with all the back and forth with the buyer. So made pretty good sales this week. I came about to, I think at the end of the day, comes about to $10, even subtracting the Jam Defender loss of 30 cents. So pretty good this week in terms of sales. But what I wanted to explain about the sales for this, like these cards, is basically in the long run, like in terms of like actually comparing the cost of the cards to like the original purchase for like a lot of the Pokemon cards and the lots to the actual price I sold them, I will say I sell a lot of these cards for a lot less. So comparing the original lot of cards to the ones I'm selling, I'm actually losing money there. But for me, this is a learning process. So I kind of hate losing money, but I kind of know it's the cost of doing business. And for me, I'm just trying to get sales going on eBay for just a personal goal for me. I'm at 85 sales, like total sales. So I want to hit at least 100 total sales on my page. That doesn't mean I sold 100 things throughout the year. I think I've only sold maybe like 30 things through the year, but I just want to hit that like 100 total sales, as it's just like a personal goal on eBay. And for me, I like pricing things kind of at TCG market value. Sometimes it goes higher and lower just depending on how the market goes, but I mean, I'm a buyer too, so I kind of understand the other side of, you know, purchasing cards, and I want to buy it at around TCG player value. The downside to that is I don't really make much profit because I'm selling it for TCG market value, where I'm not really doubling to get the actual market value. So I'm selling it actually at market price. So let's say I sold the Lost Origins card at, I think I sold at $380. After shipping, taxes, and fees, I think I only get like $280 out of the card, or maybe $240 actually. $240, yeah. And basically, like, that's kind of a loss in compared to like what I bought the card for. I think when I bought the card, like the original buyer got an average of maybe $350 per card, let's just say, for example. I can't remember off the top of my head, but for me, I'm just trying to understand and get the sales, and I want to kind of give people a good deal. But in the long run, that does mean like I will be losing money. So I've been thinking about my kind of strategy for selling cards, and I just wanted to let you guys know that, like, even though it sounds really positive, like, oh, like I made sales and like I'm not in the negative in terms of actually, on eBay after taxes and fees, I still overall kind of in the long run am in the negative for the original listing compared to what I'm selling it for. So I just want to clear that up. Like, I just want to have that transparency of, oh, I'm not like making bank. I'm actually losing money, but it's not like real negative to where it's like I bought the listing, I sold the card, but after taxes and fees, I'm even under, like, more in the red after that. So overall, this is just a really long video. I want to explain that for this week's selling video, and I know this video is going to be really long, but I actually did make quite a few sales as well. So, and I want to explain kind of what happened through the week, as it's been a little bit of a roller coaster for selling. But overall, I don't know if I'll ever hit top seller on eBay, but preferably now I want to sell on eBay, just because the eBay shipping label has a limited tracking on it, and the fact that it has tracking is so much better than envelopes that don't, that TCG Player doesn't have, that I'm kind of a little more hesitant on selling on TCG Player, where I've actually moved all of the YuGiOh cards I have on there to last sold price, not even lowest market price. So if one sells, then it's at kind of a higher price, just to maybe not have sales and just maybe primarily for me focus on eBay. So again, this is a really long video. I'll try and break up this video in like later when I release it. But anyways, if you stayed to the end of the video, thank you very much. I hope you learn kind of from what I did through this selling week, and I can't believe it's week 7, and I can't believe I sold like 5 cards this week. That's 5 or 6 cards. That's crazy to me. And my first TCG Player sale, it's all pretty much all in 1 week. That's kind of crazy how that happened. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, everyone. Peace.